Here's a hot take. Did toxic chemicals help create serial killers? Now, that is the focus from an author who just came out with a new book called Murderland. This debate on basically how serial killers came to be, it's always been a hot topic and a deep discussion. And zero disrespect to the author, Carolyn Fraser. It's a very intriguing topic, but my take on whether toxic chemicals played a role, it's a little bit different. In Murderland, Fraser explores why there were so many serial killers in the Pacific Northwest states during the 70s and the 80s. And side note on that, not just in Washington and Oregon, but California, where I am, we also had some of the highest numbers as well during that time era of 70s, 80s. Now, we've heard the FBI theories about, abuse in childhood, violent parents, rage towards mothers. Psychologists will go on to say that some were born with damaged or underdeveloped brains affecting the neurology. This book suggests something very different, toxic poisoning. And it's referring to drawing a line basically between heavy metals like lead, copper, and arsenic, which are found in soil, air, and water, and the rising violence during those decades, and linking those crime spikes in the 70s and 80s to some of the worst environmental contamination areas. That's the link. So science shows lead exposure does result in some poor brain development, impulse control problems, aggression. But here's my take as someone who has interviewed dozens of killers over the years and, of course, researched those of the past. I believe intentional murder comes down to one thing. As complex as the issue of behavior is, I think it's a lack of impulse and emotional control when provoked, when tested. It's either in you or it isn't. You can have early brain damage, you can have lack of empathy, a lower high IQ, you can be abused, numb, but you still have control over your body. It's personal. It's not wanting to, believing you don't have to, or not struggling with stopping your mechanisms to inflict violence on someone. Basically, turning off that internal stop sign inside of us, which separates a murderer from someone not capable of it. Now, to me, that also overrides any environmental toxic chemical damage. Another note, my take excludes those who have ailments like schizophrenia or split personality disorder. I've seen a few of those up close, and I do believe some people have wiring that's just so much more difficult to control. But a lot of the high-profile serial killers of the past, they never had those ailments. Either way, I like the discussion. The book ignites. I think it's interesting. But every killer I've personally interviewed, they all say the same thing to me. They say it was like an impulse that took over, or they allowed it to take over.